Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Julian Morris. In the headlines, 2023-2024 National Budget to promote sustainable economic development. Dominica to cooperate with French authorities for increased security. And 50 students to begin studies at American Canadian School of Medicine in September. The details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Prime Minister the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit says the 2023-2024 national budget will be one which promotes economic development, even as Dominica faces the challenges posed by global crises. Speaking at his bi-weekly press conference on Wednesday, Prime Minister Skerrit said small islands such as Dominica are seeing the effects of global events such as the Russia-Ukraine war, while still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister says these challenges must be taken into consideration when formulating the national budget.
We are not immune to the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war or the impact of external economic shocks on our small economies. We are observing with interest what looks like a banking crisis developing in the United States, with the recent collapse of 3 banks, and we are still emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic. Like everywhere else, we are experiencing the high inflation associated with the war, sharp increases in food and commodity prices, and of course, higher fuel costs. We have very little control over these market forces, and our small size and population make us especially vulnerable. So the challenges do exist, and these realities will have to be taken into consideration when planning the 2023-2024 budget.
He says measures must be taken to sustain the growth that the country has made in various sectors, including tourism and agriculture, while developing a strategic approach to public sector expenditure.
Our approach must be to consolidate the gains we have made since the COVID-19 pandemic, with measures to maintain growth in tourism, agriculture, the construction sector, small business development, manufacturing, and the digital economy. We must also develop a more strategic approach to public sector expenditure, ensuring that our approach to public spending reflects the realities of our times.
Prime Minister Skerrit says this year's national budget will be one that is transparent while promoting economic development in all sectors.
The budget will be transparent, and it will promote inclusive economic development, harnessing the advances we have made in renewable energy development, the construction of international airport, hotel development, and agriculture. And as we have always done, we will present a fiscal package which is responsive to the needs of our people, but also a reflection of the responsible approach we have always taken in the management of this country's affairs.
The budget is also expected to focus on the development and investment the government has made in the blue economy.
There will also be a very clear policy direction of our efforts to advance the blue economy. We believe in the government that there are huge potentials, and a lot of the positive comments we're receiving and accolades that we're receiving from various publications, in large measure due to our respect for the environment and what we're doing in respect to our oceans. And we are working with international partners who have been advising us on some additional policy actions we can take to set Dominica apart insofar as its protection of the marine space and its economy. And of course, the Minister of Finance shall commence consultations with various stakeholders as part of our usual preparation for the budget. And of course, at a later stage, the Minister of Finance will be in a position to give more information on some of the more specifics we will see captured in the budget of 2023-2024.
Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has met with French officials for the increased security cooperation between the Commonwealth of Dominica and the Republic of France, in particular the French colonies of Martinique and Guadeloupe. Prime Minister Skerrit reported on the 5th session of the French-Dominican Joint Security Commission at his bi-weekly press conference on May 10, 2023. Among the high-level French officials were the Prefect of Guadeloupe, Xavier Lefort, Ambassador of France to Dominica, His Excellency Francis Etienne, Attorney General of Guadeloupe, Mr. Eric Morel, commanders of the Gendarmerie of Guadeloupe and Martinique, General Vincent Laballe, and General William Vaquette, Dominica's Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Dominica's Attorney General, Honorable Levi Peter, and senior members of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force and Customs. Prime Minister Skerrit noted the importance of integrity within the alliance of the two countries.
And as our closest neighbors and allies, it is important we maintain open lines of communication with the French, and that we are able to dialogue in a frank and honest manner about issues relating to the security of our states. I was privileged to lead the talks during the 5th session of the French-Dominica Joint Security Commission, which addressed a number of matters of training, the conduct of joint actions and operations, immigration, and exchange of intelligence and information, and judicial cooperation.
As an outcome to this collaboration, Dominica will receive resources and training from the French authorities.
The French have also offered us some dogs that will help with the customs, search of drugs, guns, and cash as well. The French are committed to assisting us with the training of police officers to aid our crime fighting locally, and also to protect our common borders against the threat of irregular migration. We acknowledge that the irregular movement of people across our border to and from the French territories is a matter of concern, which requires the close collaboration of law enforcement in the two countries. Both sides reiterated our commitment to cooperate on critical matters of national security and to strengthen existing mutual legal agreements among our countries.
He noted that in an effort to reduce illegal entry and strengthen common border security between the countries, there will be joint French-Dominica patrols. Prime Minister Skerrit says he looks forward to the continued cooperation between the Commonwealth of Dominica and the Republic of France. The government of Dominica is in full preparation mode for the commencement of operations of the American-Canadian School of Medicine in September 2023. The American-Canadian School of Medicine's primary mission is to prepare and educate excellent physicians with an interest in primary care, global health systems, and a commitment to practice in underserved communities. The school aims to foster inquiry and collaboration in a unique and diverse learning environment which develops outstanding students. The school is set to begin classes for this fall semester with 50 students, with enrollment expected to increase for the spring semester in January 2024.
Following the departure of Ross University from PCAD, we explored several options for a replacement school. We eventually signed an agreement with the operators of the American-Canadian School of Medicine, and I'm happy to report that the school is on track to begin operations in September with a roll of approximately 50 students. Enrollment is expected to increase at the start of the spring semester in January of 2024.
Prime Minister Skerrit has given government's commitment to assist the school in achieving its mandate in providing quality education to its students.
On Wednesday, May 3rd, last week, I, along with members of the Cabinet and senior public officers, met with representatives of the International Agency for Accreditation and Rating, as well as senior members of the school's administration, to discuss areas of collaboration between the government of Dominica and the university. I assured the accreditors and the university personnel of our government's support for the school's mission to provide high-quality education to medical students from Dominica and abroad.
Prime Minister Skerrit expects this partnership to be mutually beneficial to both parties due to a proposed social partnership agreement.
We are seeking to build a strong, mutually beneficial partnership with the school, from which our students and people can realize long-term benefits. We intend to enter into a social partnership agreement with the American Canadian School of Medicine, which will provide them with access to our medical facilities for teaching. The school, in turn, will assist with our efforts to ensure superior delivery of healthcare, and that will include support on the management of our hospitals, our population having access to the medical experts and consultants who will be faculty and staff at the medical school. As a matter of fact, they already started with that venture. And several of our medical and other professionals will be considered for employment at the school. In fact, if you visit the school's website at acsom.edu.dm, a number of job openings have recently been posted.
The school is also expected to assist medical students of Dominica State College who will receive the opportunity to complete their degree in California.
We'll also seek support to develop coursework at the Dominica State College, and Dominican students will be able to access medical studies at the school's Pequot campus with the opportunity to complete their clinical rotations in the state of California in the United States of America. But full scholarships, that is, for Dominican students. According to our agreement, the school will award full scholarships to Dominican students on a yearly basis. From our recent visit to the campus, I am assured that preparations for the first semester are progressing well. The government of Dominica is excited about the economic prospects for Portsmouth and the North over the long term, and we're committed to playing our part to ensure that the new school is a success.
Present at the meeting last week were Ambassador Hubert Charles, former CEO of the Royal College of Canada, Dr. Andrew Padmos, former president of the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine, and Wayne State University Academy of Scholars, Dr. Bob Sokol. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the American Canadian School of Medicine, Dr. Alvin Bachipo, and President of the American Canadian School of Medicine, Carrie James, and Dean of the American Canadian School of Medicine, Dr. Ramin Ahmadi. The Dominica Export-Import Agency Dexia is encouraging the purchase and consumption of locally grown white potatoes. This as the harvest season is well underway and the produce is available for sale at Dexia's Roseau Pack House and retailers around the island. Dexia's General Manager, Paula Platsko, says this appeal is in addition to the support that the agency has been offering to farmers as part of the joint white potato program with the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy. She says farmers are reaping potatoes and the harvest looks promising. Ms. Platsko is appealing to the public to support local farmers who have really outdone themselves this season. Under the program, Dexia has provided support to farmers through the sale of seeds, fertilizer, and agrochemicals. Dexia, through a donation from World University Service of Canada, that is WUSC, also has a 20-foot temperature-controlled container to be used for the curing of the potatoes once harvested. Head of operations at Dexia's multipurpose pack houses, Bristol Lawrence, says the quality of the potatoes they have received so far are of a very high standard, and he expects customers will be satisfied. Consumers have complained in the past that local white potatoes are hard and do not have an appealing taste. But Mr. Lawrence is confident that this time around, consumers will have a change of opinion for the better. He says some of the past issues were due to poor post-harvest handling of the potatoes. He says to mitigate, they have done some post-harvest training with farmers in conjunction with WUSC. They have also provided farmers with crates and offered to collect and cure potatoes in Dex's facilities to further ensure a quality product that consumers will appreciate. Steve LeQuent, who has been farming for 20 years in the heights of Calibishi, has already brought in his harvest to Dexia and plans to deliver more as the season continues. You are watching National Focus. More when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. Dominica is taking the lead in the journey to education reform in the region. This as Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit held his first meeting with key stakeholders in the education sector to discuss the need for a review of the education system. Daryl Titt has more in this report.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has described as important a meeting with principals of secondary schools on island held on Monday, May 8 at the Ministry of Finance conference room. The meeting forms part of the Prime Minister's call for a comprehensive review of the region's education system to focus on the holistic development of the child and not only academic performance. Speaking at a regional symposium on crime and violence as a public health issue in Port-of-Spain, Trinidad last month, Prime Minister Skerrit called for a dramatic and urgent review of our education system in the region as part of efforts to combat crime.
We moved from 7 subjects at CXC and GC to now 15 and 18 per student. The same 5 hours, it has been increased, but we've increased the number of subjects being offered to our students. Sports and physical education have taken second place. Extracurricular activities in the classroom no longer exist. And yes, we boast of the percentage of passes at CXC examinations or national exams, but we fail to pay attention to the 20 and the 30% of those who did not get to the matriculation level. And I think we are focusing on those who do well academically, but we fail to pay attention to the mental and emotional state of our children.
Monday's meeting brought together principals of all secondary schools on island to include public and private institutions and those operated by the church.
I've started a series of consultations with various stakeholders along with the Minister for Education and the Parliamentary Secretary of the Ministry of Education. So today we met with all principals of all schools, both government schools and government-assisted schools, and a very constructive engagement. And clearly, I believe that we are all aligned in respect of the need for there to be some kind of reform. So it's a matter for now for us to define the various elements of that reform effort. But it was very constructive engagement, and certainly some very good points came forward.
The consultations will continue with a view of engaging all stakeholders viewed critical in the development of children.
We're going to be meeting primary school principals, then we'll be meeting representatives of Parent Teachers Association across the country, meeting with the church, especially those who manage schools, meeting with students as well, the private sector. So the idea is to solicit from everybody their support to that effort. And of course, we intend to engage a consultancy firm who will help with the national discussion and consultations and recommendations. But we also will put in place a national advisory board made up of principals, students, and the various groups in society who will assist with that.
Meanwhile, secondary school principals have welcomed the dialogue and have called for more such consultations in the future.
Well, it was a very productive meeting in the sense that we all got to air our issues, our gripes, and we had a probably good discussion on it. We were hoping, based on what was discussed, that certain things will be addressed.
It was really worth the while, and the experience was one that we definitely can say that we will benefit from. Our concerns was addressed, and we definitely see that we will get some of our concerns, if not all our concerns addressed. It gave us the opportunity to really identify areas that we see needed improving in the education, and I must say I'm grateful that we got this opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister to discuss that.
Well, the meeting was very timely indeed. We needed that meeting, and then we got a chance to bring out the pertinent points, the challenges that we are facing, and then we also got a chance to hear from the Prime Minister pertaining to the national transformation that has been taking place, especially focusing mainly on the TVET, and the technical subjects, which we have already been implementing at Northeast Comprehensive School. We have been implementing the woodwork, auto mechanics, technical drawing, food and nutrition, agriculture, family resource management. And I must say hats off to my dedicated and hardworking staff at Northeast Comprehensive School as well.
I think it's a good and proper meeting because we were able to discuss a number of things that affect us as principals and eventually the education system. I believe that more meetings like these should be held and do not wait until something happens to do like that. Because the change in society requires a lot of reform, and education is one of the areas that needs to be reformed. But we need to know from the principal because we are the ones in it. So even though they make changes and so at the top, they have to know what we are facing down at the bottom so we can actually implement some of these things. But I just sincerely hope that what was discussed here this morning, it just doesn't leave like that.
Improving the education system is one of the hallmarks of the Dominica Labour Party administration in the quest for achieving a resilient and dynamic Dominica.
Dominica is exploring the production of high-end fruits and vegetables with the assistance of the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Blue and Green Economy, Mr. Reginald Sevre, says 2 consultants from the FAO are currently on island exploring the country's agroecological zones, seeking to determine and give recommendations on the most suitable areas for the production of high-end fruits and vegetables.
We're talking about strawberries, grapes, tomatoes, bell peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, and all these, if you observe in the supermarkets across town, these very expensive commodities which we're going to explore the production of because there are some areas in Dominica that are suitable for growing these vegetables and fruits.
The FAO consultants are also involved in developing Dominica's agriculture transformation roadmap.
Basically, it is a document that will spell out the framework for realization of the $700 million contribution to GDP that we set to achieve by 2030. It will spell out what actions that we need to take, what investments that we need to make, and who are the players that will be critical, stakeholders that will be critical to work with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that we have set the right base to achieve the target that we have set for us in the Ministry of Agriculture.
The FAO consultants include a plant production and protection officer and a program coordinator in disaster risk management and resilience. 51 small business owners now have the requisite capital to invest in the growth and sustainability of their businesses after receiving grants from the government of Dominica. The grants were awarded following a rigorous selection process and were distributed to diverse groups of small business owners across the island. The grants targeted small and micro enterprises in various industries and sectors, including health and wellness, physical fitness, manufacturing, and food and beverage. Minister with responsibility for small business development, Honorable Darren Pinard, encouraged the grant recipients to put the funding to good use. Minister Pinard emphasized the importance of maintaining a sustainable enterprise.
I implore you to keep making your businesses your priority. Ensure that your business is as healthy as possible at all times. Give it every opportunity to survive and grow. Continue to employ good business practices such as proper record keeping and prudent financial management. Spend your monies wisely. Try to open a separate account between yourselves and the businesses. Don't deplete the business's inventory for your personal use. Many businesses have failed because of this malpractice.
Minister Pinard has pledged government support to the growth and development of small, medium, and micro enterprises in Dominica.
The government of Dominica is here to support you to create that enabling environment where you and other businesses like yours can grow and thrive. The government over the past 2 years have provided financial assistance in the amount of $1.3 million to 300 beneficiaries. This financial intervention was coupled with technical assistance and training. It must be noted that these funds were made available during a tough global and domestic period. We have also collaborated with CRID to develop an MSME toolkit which consists of the MSME website, the Business Management Guidebook, and a database. This toolkit will position the ministry to better cater to your needs as small business owners. The business sector is dynamic by nature. As such, we will continue to adapt to ensure we are providing the best possible support to small business owners and the sector.
The government of Dominica recognizes the importance of small businesses in driving economic growth and job creation and will continue with direct financial support and technical training in efforts to improve small, medium, and micro enterprises. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I am Julian Morris. Thanks for watching.